At the class reunion, my boyfriend gave me a gold bracelet in public. I opened it and saw the words on the greeting card, "Selena, happy birthday." Everyone thought I would fly into a rage. Unexpectedly, I clapped my hands and cheered instead, wishing them a long and happy life together. Since the atmosphere is already so good, why don't you two go and get a marriage certificate? 3 days ago, I passed by a Western restaurant after work and saw Liam having dinner with Selena. I called him at the entrance, but he impatiently hung up the call and then looked up and smiled brightly at Selena. In a fit of anger, I took a picture and sent it to him. That night, we had a big quarrel. Up to now, we have been in a cold war continuously. At 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I received a text message from Liam. "Tomorrow is your birthday. I've reserved a table at Hwyong Western Restaurant. See you there at 7:30. I knew he was giving me a chance. Over the years, regardless of whether it was my fault or not, I was always the one who took the initiative to admit my mistake. He never solved problems but just tried to make me happy all the time. Some sweet words along with some branded skin care products and high imitation bags were enough to make me happy for a long time. Our relationship had been maintained like this in recent years. He hurt me and then gave me a little sweetness, and then the matter was considered over. Whether our relationship was good or bad was all under his control. In Liam's heart, I was just a puppet willing to be at his mercy. My emotions, whether happy or sad, all depended on his mood. It's my own fault for being so silly, always forgetting the pain once the wound healed. I never realized that love without principles is not worth having. The notification sound on my mobile phone kept ringing. He was unusually enthusiastic, but I had no expectations instead. If it had been before and he could remember my birthday, I would surely have been as happy as a child. In previous years, when my birthday came, I would mention it every few days. Sometimes he would still forget it. If I showed a little dissatisfaction, he would blame me for being immature and not understanding and considerate of him. This year, I actually forgot about it, but he remembered it on his own initiative. Only then did I realize that unconsciously, I was 1 year older. "Okay, see you at the restaurant tomorrow night." After replying to the message, I put my mobile phone aside, but I didn't feel happy because of his initiative as I usually did. After work, I arrived at the restaurant half an hour earlier than the reserved time. An hour later, Liam still hadn't arrived. I called him, but no one answered for a long time, and the messages I sent were like stones dropped into the sea, without any response. At 10 o'clock, the waiter told me that they would get off work at 11 and asked me if I wanted to order the meal. I nodded. I ate the steak and sipped the red wine leisurely by myself. I left the restaurant just at 11 o'clock. When I got home, I lay on the bed and scrolled through videos. Unexpectedly, I came across Selena. The picture showed Liam sitting on the sofa, and the Rolex on his wrist was particularly dazzling under the light. I didn't call and cry as I usually did. Instead, I was as calm as still water. When he didn't show up on time, I already had the answer in my heart. As usual, every time he stood me up, it was because of Selena. Maybe I was really tired. This time, I didn't feel sad at all. In the middle of the night, the sound of the door opening woke me up from my dream. I've always been a light sleeper. Even a little noise would keep me awake. I knew Liam was back. He opened the door, didn't turn on the light, and just stood in front of the door, looking at me for a long time. I was already annoyed when I was woken up, and now being stared at by him like this made me even more irritated. Was Liam out of his mind? Why didn't he go to bed quickly after coming back? What was he standing there for? Could it be that because I didn't act like a crazy lunatic as usual, waiting for him until midnight every day? The food on the dining table was reheated again and again. Even if I was so sleepy that I fell asleep, I would still wait for him to come back. And then question him? Cry? Quarrel? Wasn't the way I was now exactly what he wanted? After all, every time I was hysterical with red eyes, he just watched like watching a play and didn't say a word. I was like a madman performing in front of him. At first, because of Selena, when I quarreled with him, he would still patiently explain a few words, saying that they were just friends and he was just helping out, and it wasn't what I thought. He told me not to overthink. Later, when such things happened frequently, he got used to it. He didn't bother to defend himself no matter what I thought. He would slam the door and leave in anger, leaving me to vent, cry, and then swallow all the emotions by myself. Now it's time to think about myself. Once, I was trapped in the shackles of love and became neither human nor ghost. Every time I was hysterical, I must have looked just like a clown. No wonder Liam often avoided me. At present, I don't care about anything and just want to have a good sleep. There was no movement in the room for a long time. Liam gently closed the door and turned around to leave. The sound of the shower in the bathroom came, and he went to take a shower. Accompanied by the sound of flowing water, I actually slept until dawn. The next day, I was in an especially good state. I simply washed up and left without having breakfast. I focused all my attention on work and myself, and time passed quickly instead. After work, I played with my colleagues until very late before going home. As soon as I entered the door, Liam was watching TV on the sofa. "Why are you back so early today?" I asked him while changing my shoes. "I'm not busy today, so I came back a bit earlier," he said. I replied and put down my bag, then turned to go to the bedroom. But Liam suddenly called me. "Haley." I turned around and looked at him. He told me that the birthday present had actually been prepared long ago. I said thank you and took the present directly from his hand. I opened it and saw that it was a 4-leaf clover bracelet. I smiled at him. "I like it very much. I'll wear it tomorrow." When I was about to turn around and leave, Liam told me that he had received a call from Selena temporarily yesterday. She was hit by a car outside, and as a friend, he thought it was his duty to help, so he was delayed. I patted him on the shoulder and told him it was okay. I believed him. After all, Selena was a girl and it wasn't easy for her. "Okay. I'm a bit tired. I'll go take a shower first." Seeing that I was a bit abnormal, Liam's voice became urgent. "Haley, are you angry?" I lowered my eyes and smiled slightly. "No." Liam breathed a sigh of relief and asked, "Haley, a new store has just opened downstairs. I heard it's good. Let's go and have a taste together." I pinched the space between my eyebrows, looking tired. "No, I've already eaten with my colleagues and came back. You can go and eat by yourself." After saying that, I turned around and went into the bedroom. While I was changing clothes, I heard a loud noise. When I came out in my pajamas, Liam had already left. He gave me a present and took the initiative to invite me to dinner, but I didn't cooperate. He was angry. Liam and I were in a cold war again. Before, in order not to let the conflict last overnight, every time we were in a cold war, even if it wasn't my fault, I would take the initiative to admit my mistake and try to please him. Now, without him, I actually felt a lot more relaxed. During this period of time, Liam slept on the sofa, and I enjoyed a room by myself instead, and my sleep quality improved a lot. Before, in order to make sure Liam could have a good breakfast, I would get up at 5 o'clock every morning to get busy. Now, without having to make breakfast, I can not only sleep an extra hour but also have time to dress myself up. At work, I'm not only more focused but also much more efficient. My colleagues have all praised me one after another, saying that I'm in a good state recently and seem like a different person. Only then did I find out that single life is actually so relaxing. In the past, I focused all my attention on Liam, and I often made mistakes at work, which led to frequent overtime in the evening. Now that my work efficiency has improved, I can finish my work early instead. After work, I'm too lazy to go home and cook. I never used to cook before, but Liam had a bad stomach. For his sake, I even signed up for cooking classes. However, he was so busy every day that we seldom ate at home together. Without the trouble of being in a relationship, I found that I had a lot more time. I started to take care of my skin, have meals with colleagues, and go to the movies. At the company, I saw that the new interns who just joined were even more hardworking than us. Besides going to work every day, they even wrote in their spare time to earn extra money to support their families. I actually felt a bit guilty. They just graduated and already knew to spend a lot of time improving themselves and use the money they earned to show filial piety to their parents. While I've worked for many years but achieved nothing and been idle all along. Apart from acting coquettishly in front of my parents and making them worry about me, I've found that I'm actually good for nothing. I'm already 30 years old, yet still idling away my days and doing nothing meaningful. Having a relationship has actually messed up a lot of things for me. After graduation, I was bent on marrying Liam. Up to now, I'm just his girlfriend, not his wife yet. Once upon a time, Liam was everything to me. As long as he was around, everything was okay. I even planned that after getting married, I would stay at home full-time to take care of Liam's daily life, including his food, clothing, accommodation, and transportation. If we had children in the future, I would stay at home to support my husband and educate our children while he worked hard outside without worries. A family of 3 living in harmony would be so happy. Now, however, I've completely come to my senses. Everything was just what I had imagined. No matter how much I've invested in this relationship, I haven't received any return for a long time. The other party didn't even want to give me a proper status. Neither my work nor my appearance has changed at all. The enthusiasm of the interns has really inspired me. I think it's time to fight for myself. Even if I lose in the end, I'll never regret it. I started to maintain good relationships with my colleagues and humbly asked for advice whenever there were problems. After work, I began to work out with my colleagues and engage in upward socializing. Liam hadn't contacted me for a whole week. Maybe he was still angry and often didn't come back until midnight. I used to care about it, but now I'm not afraid at all. I'm spending a lot of time on myself. Besides socializing, I also read books and took notes in the evenings. Before going to bed, I had the habit of watching videos. Unexpectedly, I saw a video in which Liam was singing karaoke with his friends and had Selena in his arms, looking at her dotingly. The 10-second video didn't have any captions. I've known Liam too well over the years. He just wanted to use a goading tactic to stir up my anger towards him. But now, I no longer have the thought of being jealous, quarreling, scolding or crying. I even think that I was really stupid before, wasting so much time on these useless people. I won't call him again and again as I used to. Letting him hang up on me time and time again and finally even turn off his phone. I just took a glance at the video and then started watching TV series. The next morning, for some reason, Liam unexpectedly made breakfast. Seeing that I got up, he deliberately told me that he had made it specially for me and asked me to have a taste. My first reaction was to resist. No, thanks. I have an early meeting today and I need to leave early. I subconsciously told a lie. Liam didn't say anything and turned around to pack the food. When I had changed my clothes, he had also changed his clothes and told me that he would drive me to work so that I could have a warm meal in the car. Otherwise, if I got hungry, he would feel bad. I was just about to refuse when Liam walked out first. I found it really ridiculous. So Liam still had a caring side for me. We went down the elevator together and unexpectedly ran into Selena. I handed the lunchbox to Selena and told her, "This is made by Liam himself. Here, you can have it." Then I turned around and smiled at Liam. "You can accompany Selena. I'll just take a taxi. I'm leaving now." With that, I walked out of the community without giving Liam any chance to explain. Unexpectedly, when I was waiting for a taxi by the roadside, Liam stopped in front of me, and Selena was sitting in the passenger seat as usual. "Get in. It's not easy to get a taxi here." I hesitated for a moment, then opened the back door and got in. As long as Selena was there, the passenger seat would never be mine. We had quarreled many times because of this. He just blamed me for being immature, saying that Selena got carsick and it wouldn't matter if I gave her the seat. I argued with him, asking if he didn't know the meaning of the passenger seat in a private car. Liam sneered at me, saying that I was being too fussy and didn't focus on my work but always thought about trifles. Selena was just a friend and he was just giving her a ride. There was no need to haggle over every little thing. Wasn't I tired of it? Thinking about what I did back then, I was just like a joke. Now, I don't care at all. Once I got in the car, I closed my eyes to rest and sorted out my thoughts. I had a big client to negotiate with today, but the two of them in the front were chatting happily. Liam mentioned that the Western food we had last time was really good and that we should go to that place again next time if we had the chance. When Selena heard that, her tone was gentle. If you like it, we can go there again next time. After saying that, she also added, yeah, every time we have Western food, it's so kind of you to help me cut the steak. I'm really grateful. Liam chuckled and told her that it was nothing, that it was what a man should do. Bah! What a man should do. Fortunately, I wasn't asleep, or else I wouldn't have known that Liam had such a greasy side. Before getting out of the car, Selena also told me, sister, don't be angry. I'm used to it. Unlike you, sister, who can do everything. In the past, I would definitely retort. But now I think it's a waste of time to argue with them. Since I've been with Liam, when he took me to have Western food and I asked him to cut the steak for me, he said that I hadn't even eaten steak before and that I obviously had no taste at all. I was so stubborn at that time that I picked up the knife and fork and cut the steak into pieces by myself. He then said that since I could do it myself, I was being too fussy. My love for him was so humble that it was like dust. After that time, I never had Western food with him again. I've already got used to Selena's provocations. Now, no matter what they do, I'm not affected at all and don't want to get too involved with them. Over the years with Liam, he has consumed too much of my time and energy. Now, I just want to break up with Liam. Then, I want to find the old me who got lost. I watched the car gradually disappear from my sight. At that moment, I saw Selena making a yes gesture to me through the car window. That victorious look seemed to be declaring her sovereignty over me. She's always like this, provoking me again and again. This time, however, I didn't scold her on my mobile phone as I usually did. Seeing that I left, Selena seemed a bit disappointed. But soon, she shifted her attention and continued chatting and laughing with Liam. I was so stupid before. I knew clearly that Selena was sowing discord between us, but I still fell for it every time. I would get angry with Liam because of trifles. I blamed Liam, saying that it was clearly Selena's fault, but he still scolded me. Selena would always act coquettishly and say that she didn't do it on purpose. Liam would then blame me, saying, "Look at how sensible Selena is. How come you're becoming less and less ladylike?" Later, I realized that only the favored one can be so fearless. What am I in his heart? I went back to the company and started a new day's work. I used to be affected by my emotions due to the Cold War and always made mistakes at work. Now that I don't have those emotions towards Liam, I actually feel a lot more relaxed. Not only has my work efficiency improved, but I can also concentrate on my work, which is quite rare for me. As a result, I've received a lot of praise from clients. They said that I've made great progress and am obviously much more professional than before. During the lunch break at noon, I received a message from Liam. He said that Lao Jiang was having a celebration party for his promotion and had reserved a private room at Lanin Hotel. Everyone was usually so busy that it was rare for us to get together. He invited us to go for dinner and relax at the same time. I told him that I appreciated Lao Jiang's kindness, but he could go by himself. I happened to have a project during this period, and the contract was to be signed this week, so I might not have time. Liam sent me a crying emoji and also deliberately sent me a voice message with a gentle voice. "Haley, you know that we haven't seen each other for a long time. This time, Lao Jiang specifically reminded me that I must bring you along. He also said that he really liked the gift you gave to his wife before. Let's go together." I suddenly felt sick. Since when has a grown man learned to act coquettishly? After thinking about it, I couldn't resist him for a while and agreed. After finishing the work at hand, I started to study the project plan. I found that when I focused on my work, there were fewer troubles and things went much more smoothly. As soon as I got off work, I received a call from Liam. He said that I should come downstairs as he was already waiting for me there. I tidied myself up briefly and then got in the car. Today, Selena wasn't in his car. I still chose to sit in the back seat on my own. Because of the argument with Selena about the passenger seat before, Liam had reprimanded me more than once. Now, however, I don't care about it anymore. But he said, "Haley, sit in the front. With your status, how can you sit in the back?" I was too lazy to argue with him. "I'm a bit tired today and don't want to move. I'll just stay here." "Let's go." Seeing that I wasn't in a good mood, he didn't say anything more. We didn't say a word all the way. When we arrived at Lao Zhang's place, Liam walked in front. As soon as the door was opened, we saw a girl quickly take his arm, rubbing her face against it constantly, looking so happy. "Brother Liam, you're finally here. I've been waiting for you for a long time." Liam pushed Selena away with a low voice. "Let's go." Selena looked aggrieved and grabbed Liam's sleeve. "Brother Liam, don't be angry. There are rare tropical fish in this hotel. They're really beautiful. I'll take you to have a look. I'm sure you'll like them." Liam pushed Selena away again, a bit harder this time, and almost made her fall to the ground. "Brother Liam, what are you doing? You almost made me fall." Liam stopped and turned around to look at me behind him. Only then did Selena notice that I had also come. Instead of feeling embarrassed, she smiled at me. "Sister Haley is here. We usually play around like this." "Sister, you won't be angry, will you?" I chuckled. "No, you can play however you like." I walked straight into the room and sat down on the sofa. Selena followed me and came to my side. She picked up the strawberries on the table, ate the tips of the strawberries, and then stuffed the remaining parts into Liam's mouth right in front of me. Liam didn't eat them as he usually did. Instead, he knocked Selena's hand away and spat the strawberries into the trash can. Selena's face looked ugly, but she quickly showed off to me. "Sister, you probably don't know that Brother Liam's Princess Carrie is really reassuring. When we play games together, we often do that." I didn't get angry. Instead, I raised my eyebrows. "Really? Then why don't you two perform it for me?" I never knew that he could do a Princess Carrie. Before Selena could say anything, Liam got up and said that he was going downstairs to pick up some friends. When I was around before, they had always been so boundaryless. I was already used to it. So, no matter how Selena provoked me, I wouldn't get angry with her, nor would I be stupid enough to argue with her. In the past, I often quarreled with Liam because of Selena. Selena had no sense of boundaries. Couldn't he be a bit more discreet? Every time, Liam would think that I was making a fuss over nothing. He said that Selena had always been like a sister in his heart. If he wanted to be with her, they would have been together long ago. There was no need to wait until now. He also blamed me, saying that I didn't work hard every day and always looked for trouble when there was nothing to do, which made him feel disgusted. If he didn't still have feelings for me, he would have broken up with me long ago. I used to think that as long as I was strong enough, I could withstand all kinds of difficulties and be with Liam forever. I never expected that there would be a day when I was exhausted. Now, I don't care about anything related to Liam. I just want to finish the meal and go back early. When we were having dinner, Selena deliberately sat next to Liam and kept picking food for him. I didn't care. The food in this restaurant was good, and I ate 2 bowls. After dinner, Selena suggested that we all go singing together. I remembered that I still had some work to do, so I wanted to leave first. I got up and said, "I haven't finished my work, so I can't play with you guys today. Next time when there's a chance, I'll treat you. Have a good time." Seeing me like this, Liam's face turned livid. "I'll take you home." I told him that it was okay and that I could go back by myself. I really didn't want him to take me home. I just wanted to be alone for a while. Why was it so difficult? Liam's voice was cold. "Let's go." I happened to have something else to do anyway. I couldn't persuade him otherwise, so I planned to leave with him. Selena also chimed in beside us. "Brother Liam, if you're leaving, I'll go with you too. I took a taxi here today. You can give me a ride on your way." I didn't say anything and just turned around and went downstairs. As usual, Selena directly got into the passenger seat. I was really tired today. Once I got in the car, I closed my eyes to rest. Selena kept talking, and unexpectedly, Liam snapped at her. Selena, I'm really tired today. Don't distract me while I'm driving. Chapter 7. We didn't say a word all the way. When I got out of the car, Selena deliberately slammed the car door, making a loud noise. I knew that Selena was angry. Surprisingly, Liam didn't comfort Selena. After I got home, I changed my clothes and went straight to the bathroom to take a shower. Then I started to work on the tasks at hand. Seeing me like this, Liam didn't talk to me either and walked straight to the guest room. Since the Cold War started, we had been sleeping in separate rooms. I've adapted to the current life and actually feel a lot more relaxed than before. The next day, Liam got up surprisingly early. I had just finished washing up and was about to change clothes and go out when Liam offered to take me to work. I told him that it wasn't necessary as my colleague was waiting for me outside. Liam couldn't help frowning and said in a low voice, "Haley, let me take you to work. It's not appropriate to always trouble your colleagues." I looked at him and told him not to worry. It was okay. The colleague lived in a nearby community and it was just on his way. Besides, I wasn't taking a free ride. I would pay him for the taxi fare. Liam couldn't persuade me otherwise, so he had to agree. I came downstairs and just got in the car when I felt a strong gaze. I followed the line of sight and saw someone looking this way from the balcony. I knew that Liam saw it too, but I didn't think there was anything I needed to explain to him. I went back to the company and started my work for the day. Except for being a bit busy, everything else went quite smoothly. I received a message from Liam. He asked, "Were you the only one in the car this morning?" I didn't hide anything and told him that only I in the company was on the same way as him, and it happened to be our companies in turn who had helped a lot usually. Besides, I had paid the taxi fare, so there was nothing inappropriate. However, Liam suggested, "From now on, let me take you to work. Otherwise, if your colleagues see it, they might think something else. Besides, it's not appropriate for a man and a woman to be alone together." In the past, with my old personality, I would surely have patiently explained a lot to him. But now I was too lazy to explain and just told him, "No, thanks. You're also very busy, and I don't want to waste your time." Thinking back, before this intern came, my life was really in a mess. One day, I worked overtime until very late. It was pouring rain outside and I couldn't get a taxi at all. I called Liam and asked him to pick me up. But he said that he was drinking with friends and was busy, and told me not to spoil his fun. If I really didn't want to stay, I could just take a taxi home. It wasn't like I couldn't get home without him. Before I could refute, he hung up on me. Helplessly, I scanned a shared bicycle near the company and went home in the rain. When I got home, I saw Liam lying on the sofa playing games, and the table was in a mess. When he saw me, not only did he not say a word of concern, but he also said, "Look, you could get home without me, couldn't you?" I was soaked all over, and water was dripping from my body continuously. I was stunned at that time. I couldn't believe that these words came out of the mouth of the man I had loved for 6 years. At lunchtime, I received a message from Liam. He said that he found a beautiful Persian cat near the company. He asked if I liked it and if we could buy it and raise it together. I found it funny. Obviously, I used to like sharing everything with him before. Whether it was delicious food or some interesting things, I would tell him about them. But what I got in return was either impatient words or just his one-sided nagging. Now that I don't have any expectations, he's starting to be so eager. Chapter 8. I looked through our chat records. I found that the records stopped last week. It turns out that I can also not chat with him. On the weekend, Lily called and invited me to get together in the evening. I agreed without hesitation. After being with Liam, I cut off all my social activities. When I was single, I often went shopping and watched movies with my friends. After falling in love, in order to be alone with Liam, I became the kind of person who valued my lover more than my friends. Lily often invited several girlfriends to sing and watch movies outside. I didn't go to any of those gatherings. Lily and the others all said that I valued my lover more than my friends and warned me that I might not have any friends left in the future. Before, Lily invited me to sing. Coincidentally, Liam came home early that night and sent me a message. I regretted it at that time. If I hadn't come out to play, I could have accompanied Liam. I was absent-minded and left after staying for a while by making up an excuse. In order to prevent such situations from happening, I declined all social activities, whether it was gatherings with my best girlfriends or colleagues. Later, I would go home early to cook, but Liam often stood me up. As a result, I became the one who didn't fit in with the group. Near the end of work, I received a call from Liam. He said that we could go to the cinema together in the evening and that he would treat me to my favorite Sichuan Chongqing hot pot. I told him that I had an appointment with my friends in the evening. Liam hesitated for a moment, and his voice was unusually gentle. "Haley, could you cancel it? It's rare for us to have a meal together." I replied straightforwardly, "No way." Before, I didn't go to any of the gatherings. Now it's not easy for us to get together once. That night, I had a great time and drank a lot of wine. Lily and the others all said to me, "It would have been so much better if you had been like this earlier." Only then did I realize that life could be so enjoyable without a man. During this time, Liam called several times, saying that he would come to pick me up and asking me to drink less. I told him to finish his business and go to bed early and not to worry about me. Unexpectedly, when I came out of the karaoke hall, I saw Liam waiting for me at the entrance. I directly sat in the back seat. He handed me a bottle of water and then said in a soft voice, "Haley, you've drunk alcohol. Drink some water. It'll make you feel better." I was quite shocked. When did Liam change so much that he could actually care about me? I remembered that once when I had a fever of over 40 degrees at home and called him to ask him to take me to the hospital, he told me that he was watching a football match with friends and was too busy to leave for a while. He asked me to go by myself since he wasn't a doctor. Now seeing his affectionate look made me feel sick. They say women are fickle, but men are the same. I put the water aside and urged him to drive faster. The car started slowly, and then Liam spoke. "Haley, I was wrong before. Only now do I realize what it's like to wait." I found it funny. A belated affection is cheaper than grass. Liam couldn't be unaware of this truth. I used to think that Liam was the one who would shelter me from the wind and rain. Only now did I understand that all the storms were brought by him. I didn't want to get too involved with Liam. I just wanted to go back and go to sleep quickly. "Could you be quiet and stop disturbing my sleep?" Liam actually smiled at me, with a tenderness that I had never seen before. "Haley, how much have you drunk? You're so drunk. In the future, wherever you go, I won't be at ease if I don't follow you. With your silly look, anyone who treats you a little better could easily deceive you." Gentleness and doting were what I had always dreamed of before. But for me now, they just make me feel disgusted. Chapter 9. Since Liam picked me up last time, he has completely changed. He started to pick me up from and drop me off at work on time every day. Every day when he got home, he would cook for me himself. He even refused to play online games with his friends. Our roles have completely reversed. When I was reading a book, he would make a fruit platter for me. When I was taking a shower, he would prepare milk for me in advance, saying that milk helps with sleep. Before, when I asked him for things that I cared about a lot, he wouldn't give them to me. Now, I don't need them, but he has prepared them all for me. Only then did I suddenly realize that it wasn't that he didn't know what I liked, but that he simply wasn't willing to give them to me before. I used to fantasize about going to and from work with him, going shopping in the supermarket and buying groceries together, and cooking together. 3 meals a day, through the 4 seasons, living a harmonious and happy life forever. Now that he has done these things, it has instead created a kind of pressure for me. Instead, I'm looking forward to the days when I can be alone more. On this day, Liam called me. He said that there was something going on at the company and that he would be a bit late to pick me up. I told him that I had a plan to work on today and that it would be very late, so he didn't need to come. After sending the message, I felt a lot more relaxed. I was just about to order takeout when I received a message from the client. The client said that this case still needed to be revised as it didn't quite meet his expectations. I felt very depressed. I had already revised this case inside and out no less than 8 times. My mood suddenly dropped to the bottom. I told the client to rest assured that I would surely satisfy him. Then I turned off the computer, picked up my coat and walked out. I came to the riverside in the park, throwing stones while venting my emotions. Obviously, everything was developing in a good direction, but when encountering a little difficulty, I couldn't face it well. The more I thought about it, the more tears couldn't help flowing down. Child, it doesn't matter if you didn't do well in the exam this time. Mom believes that you will definitely do better next time than this time. A gentle voice came from beside me. I wiped the tears from the corners of my eyes and opened my eyes wide. Instantly, I felt enlightened. I turned on my mobile phone and browsed through the plan again. The wind blew gently, and my heart completely calmed down. Inspiration welled up in my mind. I sat on the chair and started to revise it. An hour later, I sent it to the client. Soon, the other party replied. Thank you for your hard work. I'm very satisfied with this version. I thanked the client. After coming out of the park, I took a taxi home by the roadside. As soon as I entered the house, I saw Liam sitting on the sofa with a livid face. He asked me, "Haven't you worked overtime during this period?" I was stunned for a moment, thinking that he should have known something, so I didn't hide it. Yes. He walked towards me, his voice cold. I saw you come out of the company with my own eyes. I followed you all the way to the park, and then I saw you holding your mobile phone and didn't know what you were writing. An hour later, I saw that you were very happy and took a taxi home by the roadside. Why did you lie to me? Perhaps he didn't expect that the woman who used to love him so desperately had now learned to lie in order to avoid him. After all, over the years, I had always been the one maintaining this relationship. Even if he hurt me countless times, I never thought it was his fault and had always been looking for reasons in myself. Now that the woman who used to cling to him was gone, he instead became unaccustomed to it. I found that this man was so greedy. When I clung to him, he disliked me in all kinds of ways. When I became independent, he started to find faults with me. Chapter 10. Seeing that I remained silent for a long time, Liam sat on the sofa looking dejected. I put down my bag and sat down beside him, looking calm. Since you already know, let's talk. Hearing this, Liam seemed to realize something. He held my hand tightly and said in a hurried voice, "Haley, if there's anything I didn't do well, you can tell me. I can change for you. Please don't ignore me anymore. I'm really afraid of losing you." I thought that since things had come to this point, it would be better to talk it out. Let's talk. At this moment, Liam's mobile phone rang. He picked it up and showed it to me, his voice gentle. "Let's talk later. It's my mom's call." I got up and went back to my room to take a shower. When I came out, Liam was sitting on the sofa in a daze. Before I could say anything, Liam murmured, "Haley, I have to go home. My mom said something happened at home and asked me to go back to my hometown." I didn't know if he was trying to avoid it. He started packing his luggage. In the past, whether he was on a business trip or traveling, I was the one who packed his luggage. Now that I don't have to do these things, I feel a lot more relaxed. Liam told me to wait until he came back to talk about things and that we should both calm down during this period. I thought it was okay. During the years when I was with Liam, once I heard him answering a phone call and talking about the topic of marriage. That day, I had just entered the door and saw that there was no one in the living room. Just as I walked into the bedroom, I heard their conversation. His mother said that I and Liam were not suitable for each other at all and that when in a relationship, one should find someone from a similar family background. She asked him to break up with me as soon as possible and not to waste time on me. At that time, our relationship was quite good, and then I heard Liam having a big quarrel with his mother. Later, Selena suddenly appeared, and instead of his mother blocking us in the middle, he and I started to go in opposite directions. I thought that when Liam finished dealing with the family matters, I would have a frank talk with him. No matter what his attitude was in the end, I had already made up my mind and definitely wouldn't be indecisive. We would part ways and not disturb each other in the future. The next day, I received a call right after I came out of the gym. It was a girl. She told me that Liam had drunk a lot of alcohol and was now in the hospital in a serious condition. She asked me to hurry over to have a look. She told me the address and then hung up the phone. I felt strange. Didn't Liam say that something happened at home and that he was going back to his hometown to have a look? How could he come back so quickly? I came to the hospital and saw Liam lying on the hospital bed with an IV drip. Before I could say anything, Selena pushed the door open and walked in. When she saw Liam on the hospital bed, she looked angry. Sister Haley, I don't know what's going on between you and brother Liam, but it made him so afraid to go home that he gets drunk outside every day and even stays in hotels every day. I was shocked and fixed my eyes on Liam. Is this what you meant by going back to your hometown? Liam sighed. Haley, alas. I knew that Liam must have realized the problems between us and chosen to avoid them. After calming down for a moment, I told him that since he was in this state, he should focus on getting better. We could talk about it when he was discharged from the hospital and went home. After saying that, I was about to leave. Liam coughed softly twice, his voice hoarse. Haley, won't you stay here with me? I found it funny and said in a cold voice. We're all adults. There's no need to be so fussy about such a trifle. Before Liam could say anything, Selena shouted at me, Brother Liam, look at what kind of partner you've found. Chapter 11. Actually, that was exactly what Liam had said before. He said those words to me back then. When I was on my period, I was sweating coldly and shaking all over with pain. I called him and asked him to buy me some painkillers. But he told me that he was very busy and that it was such a small matter, and I still bothered him. He asked if I didn't have hands and feet. He also said that we were all adults and there was no need to be so fussy about such a small thing. He wondered how other women got through it. The memories of the past were still vivid in my mind. I was too lazy to argue with Selena and told her that if I didn't do well, she could take care of him instead. Selena's eyes were bloodshot as she shouted at me, Don't worry. I definitely won't be as heartless as you. I told Liam that he didn't lack me by his side. Later, Liam didn't contact me for a whole week. I didn't know if he was avoiding me. I knew clearly in my heart that when he came back, I would definitely make a decision with him. From our senior year in college to now, Liam and I had been together for 6 years. I knew that a short pain was better than a long one, and I also knew clearly that it was time to cut losses in time. I couldn't ruin my future because of a man. I decided to break up and stop being entangled with him. When did things start to change between us? It was when Selena reappeared in Liam's life. Actually, during college, I already knew of Selena's existence. We were in the same school but different grades. I had never met Selena before. How did Liam and I meet? I was a poor student and was often bullied and looked down upon by my classmates at school. One day during the break, they came to trouble me, dragged me to the playground and tried to blackmail me. They said that if I didn't hand over the money on me, they would take off my clothes. I didn't have any money. My parents were farmers and had borrowed a lot of money to support my studies. I begged them to let me go and promised to give them the money after I got the scholarship. But they wouldn't listen to my explanation and started beating me. At that time, I thought that since I couldn't stop them, then let them beat me. If I died, none of them would get away with it. So from the beginning to the end, I didn't resist. At this critical moment, a voice came from behind. What are you doing here? Campus bullying. Believe it or not, I'll send you to the police station. I looked up and found that it was Liam. Everyone was very surprised. They didn't expect Liam to meddle in other people's business. Liam picked me up and took me to the school infirmary. He told me that I should be confident and brave, and then no one would dare to bully me. After that, I began to try to change myself and also learn to resist and refuse. Many people laughed at me, saying that just because Liam saved me once, I thought it could change my fate. I knew it couldn't change my fate, but I firmly believed that as long as I worked hard enough, I would succeed. I liked Liam, and I also knew that he had someone he liked, who was the campus belle Selena. Liam had chased Selena for 2 years but got nothing in the end. I couldn't understand what Selena was thinking. Didn't she like such an excellent person? Later, by chance, I saw Selena with a rich second-generation guy. Only then did I find out that Selena's clothes cost tens of thousands of yuan each set. I thought that was the reason why Liam wasn't favored by Selena. Later, Selena went abroad. I also worked hard enough and got closer and closer to Liam. I confessed my love to Liam, and he actually agreed. We watched movies and had meals together and looked for jobs together. I thought we would be happy forever. But I never thought that since Selena appeared, our relationship would drift further and further apart. Chapter 12. Anytime Selena called, he would put everything aside and rush to her. When I cried, made a scene and threatened to kill myself, it only made Liam feel annoyed and he became extremely cold towards me. I thought about breaking up, but I wasn't reconciled. I wasn't the one at fault. Why should I give up my place? No matter how fierce the quarrel was, I had never mentioned the word breakup. I was afraid that once I said breakup, Liam would immediately agree, and then I wouldn't even have a chance to save the relationship. I knew clearly in my heart that I had invested too much in this relationship and was reluctant to part with it. I hoped that the storms would pass eventually and everything would get better. But I didn't expect that I couldn't hold on anymore. I was really tired. My feelings for Liam had gone from being full to being completely exhausted. I thought I could hold on for a while longer. But I didn't expect that there would be a time when my feelings would disappear completely. Now, no matter what he does, it can't affect my emotions. I know it's time to end it. I'm not sad. Instead, I feel relieved. The decision to break up is the result of my careful consideration during this period. Without feelings, there's no need to be tied together and hurt each other. Once, I thought we would be happy forever and walk into the marriage hall. Now, cutting losses in time is the best decision. I will never love someone so deeply again. But so what? Life isn't just about love. I don't regret this relationship. We had a good beginning, and we once loved each other deeply. In this relationship, I was loved, I gave, and I also got something. I'm only 30 years old, not old at all, and everything is still in time. This relationship has made me mature and helped me know myself better. I can love wholeheartedly, and I can also leave cleanly. After a week, Liam still hadn't come back. I was considering whether it was better to tell him directly. I didn't want to waste time with him anymore. The endless waiting had become a kind of torture for me. I received a call from my dad. He said that my mom had been in a bad mood recently and wanted to come to me to relax. He asked if I had time. Coincidentally, tomorrow was the weekend. Since I came to Rongqing, I hadn't accompanied my parents well. Taking this opportunity, I wanted to accompany them well. I picked up my parents and saw the white hair on their temples. I felt an indescribable sadness in my heart. I took them to play at scenic spots for a few days. My mom's mood became much more stable and everyone was very happy. At noon when we were having lunch, we took a photo together. I posted it on Moments, saying that I should go home to visit them more often when I had time. On the way back, I received a call from Liam. He blamed me for not telling him that my parents had come. I felt very strange. Why should I tell him that my parents had come? But he had a reproachful look on his face. It's not appropriate if I don't go to see uncle and auntie when they've come here with such difficulty, right? I found it really funny. The Mid-Autumn Festival the year before last, my parents knew that I was in a relationship and asked me to find time to bring my partner home to let them meet. I wanted to bring Liam back, but he refused. He said that we were still young and didn't want to enter marriage too early. Once we met, we would face the problem of being urged to get married. After that, I never mentioned it again. After having dinner, I took my parents to the high-speed rail station to take the train. While waiting for the train, I was surprised to see Liam coming over with something in his hand. He handed the things to me and smiled at me. I didn't know what auntie and uncle liked, so I just bought some supplements. I had a livid face and grabbed him. "Who asked you to come?" Chapter 13. Liam told me as a matter of course. He said, "I'm your boyfriend. Why can't I come?" I felt a headache and said in a low voice, "Don't you know that you're being very presumptuous? Haley, it was all my fault before. Could you please give me one more chance?" I told him that we could talk about it after I sent my parents onto the train later. My mom and dad were curious and couldn't help asking me if this was my boyfriend. I told them that he wasn't, just a good friend. Liam was shocked by my answer. I knew that he couldn't accept such an answer. However, our current relationship, to put it bluntly, isn't even considered as friends. I looked at the time, sent my parents into the station, and then turned around and left. On the way home, Liam didn't say a word. I knew that he was looking for a chance to explain to me. In the development of our relationship to this point, both sides were responsible. As soon as we entered the house, Liam didn't give me a chance to speak at all and said straightforwardly, "Let's talk later. I have a stomachache." I went back to my room, changed my clothes, and sat on the sofa waiting, thinking about how to communicate with him later. 20 minutes later, Liam walked over slowly. I looked at him. "Let's talk. I don't want to drag this out for too long. I think you should know clearly in your heart that problems had already emerged between us long ago. Before, I was too love-struck and just kept deceiving myself, always telling myself that it didn't matter and everything would be okay. But looking at it during this period, I took things too simply. I've also thought about it for a long time and finally made a decision. Liam, let's break up." Click. The ring box fell from Liam's hand. Obviously, he didn't expect that I would actually propose breaking up. Soon, he picked up the ring from the ground. He got down on one knee and said in a soft voice, "Haley, this is a diamond ring that can only be customized once in a lifetime, and you are the person I love the most. Let's get married." I was completely stunned. In the past, I would surely have been overjoyed. How much I wanted to be his most beautiful bride. But now, I didn't even have the slightest desire. Inside the box was a beautiful diamond ring for women. The diamond ring in front of me was in the shape of a butterfly, which was my favorite style. I remembered that once we went shopping together and saw it in a diamond ring store. I showed Liam the styles and designs that I liked, and even took it out to try it on. I was quite satisfied in all aspects and asked him if it looked good. But Liam was holding his mobile phone, chatting with someone, and he actually said, "Look at yourself. How can you deserve such a beautiful diamond ring?" His words were like a basin of cold water pouring straight into my heart, making my heart completely cold. I couldn't understand. In Liam's eyes, was I such a terrible person? I thought it was just a diamond ring, not an excessive request. He didn't give it to me and even humiliated me in public. Now, looking at the thing in his hand, I was completely sober. Back then, it wasn't that he didn't care. He just thought that I didn't deserve it at all. Looking at Liam's expectant look, I was straightforward. "I don't want to." Liam seemed to have expected this outcome. He put the ring on the table and slumped down on the sofa. "Haley, I've always loved you. Do you have to be like this?" Perhaps in his heart, this was what love was? Since Selena showed up, I didn't know what love was anymore. Chapter 14. Seeing that I didn't say anything, Liam went straight into the bedroom. Our conversation came to an end. I started looking for a new place to live online. Once I found one, I would move out of here. During this period, we went back to how we used to be. Liam often came back in the middle of the night. Besides taking time to look for a house, I spent the rest of my time on the project. Near the end of the month, this project was very important to the company. I often felt that I couldn't handle it. Although I was tired, my current life made me very happy. It turned out that life without a man could really make one live longer. That night, Lily invited me to go to the temple fair. I finished my work early and we had dinner together. I hadn't played so freely for a long time and was really happy. We sat by the river together, enjoying the breeze and looking at the night view. In a trance, I saw myself 2 years ago. I snuggled up to Liam's shoulder and we counted the stars in the sky together. We dreamed about the future and planned every little detail of it. I thought our happiness would bear fruit soon. I thought we were the right people for each other. However, I overlooked that Selena would suddenly barge into my life. I began to feel lucky. If Selena hadn't come back, I definitely wouldn't have recognized a person so quickly. The wind blew gently across my cheeks, and the water in the river was sparkling. Around me were the sounds of my girlfriends playing and joking. Lily, knowing my situation, invited me to live with her. Coincidentally, she was also living alone now. I was very happy that there was still someone by my side when I was in trouble. Lily told me that the best way to forget someone was to quickly start a new relationship. I laughed at her, saying that I wasn't a scumbag and couldn't do such a scummy thing. She laughed at me for being too naive and not even knowing how to heal my wounds. In the evening, as soon as I entered the door, I saw Liam sitting on the sofa. The table was full of dishes. When he saw me come back, he hurriedly said, "Why are you back so late today? I'll heat up the dishes. We can have dinner right away." He was wearing an apron, and I was surprised. I knew that Liam could cook, but during the years we were together, I had never eaten the food he cooked. I told him that it wasn't necessary. I was too tired to eat. If he wanted to eat, he could heat it up by himself. And he didn't need to wait for me for meals in the future. I ignored him and walked straight into the bedroom. I thought that with Liam's temper, he would surely fly into a rage. Unexpectedly, when I came out of the shower, he had already made a fruit platter. He smiled at me. "Come on. I just bought these cherries today. Have a taste." I was just about to say something when he said, "Sit down and let's talk." I knew that he couldn't hold on anymore. However, compared to how he treated me in the past, what I was doing now was nothing. As soon as I sat down, he directly knelt in front of me. I was startled and tried to pull him up, but he pushed my hand away. "Haley, during these days, I've tried all the ways I treated you before on myself. Only now do I realize that I'm really a bad person." Slap. A crisp slap landed on his face. I was startled and wanted to stop him, but after all, it had already happened, and doing this now was meaningless. In my heart, everything he was doing for me now was in vain. I told him not to waste his time on me. I could only accompany him this far. He begged me not to leave. I shook off his hand, looking reserved and cold. "Liam, give up. This time, we're really over." Chapter 15. Liam slumped down on the sofa in despair. I turned around to pack my luggage when Liam's mobile phone rang. Liam was stunned for a moment, hesitated for a while, and then answered it. I thought that I would never see him again in this lifetime. So, when I saw Liam again, I was really shocked. What was even more absurd was that he showed up at my company. I was straightforward. "Why are you here?" Liam smiled at me. "What else could I be doing here? I'm definitely here to work." I looked up at the name of the company. I hadn't gone to the wrong place. "Are you crazy? Did you resign and join our company?" Liam had a naughty smile on his face and teased, "Guess." I couldn't help stamping my foot and told him whether he could be a qualified ex after breaking up. We had clearly agreed before, but now he wouldn't let me go. He didn't say anything and just kept smiling at me. I was so angry that I gritted my teeth. "Do you think you're still a teenager of 17 or 18, going crazy without restraint? You were in a manager position in your company. What are you going to do in our company?" He almost didn't think about it and just said, "Field sales." "I'm not in the same department as you." "I think it's quite good." "Unreasonable." I ignored him and turned around to enter the company. Liam's voice came from behind, attracting a lot of attention. "Haley, I'm not just a passing fad. I just want you to know that losing you is the thing I regret the most in my life." Hearing this, without saying a word, I pulled him to hide in a corner. "Aren't you ashamed? What are you shouting about in public?" Liam smiled at me and straightened his newly bought shirt. "Haley, the fact that you care about me means that you still have feelings for me in your heart. I'm very happy. Haley, I didn't come here on impulse. It's just that after you left, I completely lost my direction in life. I know that I've done so many things that hurt you, and it's unrealistic to ask for your forgiveness. You don't need to feel too much psychological pressure. I don't expect you to forgive me. If you think I'm embarrassing you, just treat me as an ordinary colleague. Don't worry. I won't disturb you. As long as I can accompany you by your side, I'll be happy. Before, I did too many things that hurt you. This time, I'm not trying to make up for it, but to let you see that I've really changed. Compared to you, what's the importance of the manager position? Besides, we're all adults. I'm rational and very clear about what I'm doing. There's nothing worth or not worth. Even if I try hard by your side and finally can't win you back, I'll never regret it. Hearing so much from Liam, instead of feeling happy, I was overwhelmed by a huge pressure. I didn't want to be entangled with him. Liam, be rational. Resign. You've never done sales before. This job is not suitable for you at all. Besides, once I've made a decision, I definitely won't change my mind. It doesn't matter. This is my own decision and has nothing to do with you. You just need to be yourself. Don't worry about me. Even if there's someone you like by your side, I won't give up until I see it with my own eyes. Don't persuade me anymore. Since I've come here, I definitely won't go back on my word. I was too lazy to waste words with him. Let him do whatever he wanted. I kept myself fully occupied and stopped thinking about the fact that Liam and I were working in the same company. He really did as he said and didn't disturb me anymore. Chapter 18. Liam really treated me as a colleague as he said. He went to and from work on time every day. At most, we just greeted each other when we met, just like ordinary colleagues. I was in the banking agency department, and he was in the field department. We were not in the same department, and basically, it was very difficult for us to meet. In the field department, every morning, besides having meetings, he sorted out customer files and then went out to do business. After work, they would gather together to discuss the problems they encountered during the day. At that time, we were either off work or working overtime. It's been about 8 or 9 days since we met on Monday, and I haven't seen him again. In 3 days, I will have a product briefing, and the company has asked me to be the main speaker this time. I've been studying hard every day this month, and now the briefing is going very smoothly. I'm confident that I can do a good job. On Monday morning, I went out after checking my materials and clothes, and came to the company in a cheerful mood. But half an hour later, I began to panic and felt so nervous that I didn't know what to do. It rained heavily yesterday, and I overlooked the puddles at the entrance of the company. I got out of the taxi and was checking my things. However, the driver stepped on the accelerator, and all the muddy water on the roadside splashed onto me. I knew that at this time, it was too late to go home and change clothes. At this early hour in the morning, the clothing stores wouldn't be open yet. I had prepared so well, but getting up early turned out to be a bad thing instead. I was so worried that I didn't know what to do. I started to calculate the time and wondered if it was still in time to take a taxi home to change clothes. I was just about to take a taxi again when Liam's voice came from behind. Here, try this on and see if it fits. I turned around, looking confused, and stared at the uniform that Liam handed to me. I was surprised. Time was pressing, and I didn't have time to think about it. I took the clothes and went into the company. I changed into a shirt and found that it fit me perfectly. I came out of the company and handed the remaining skirt to Liam. Thank you. I'll return the shirt to you after I wash it clean. Liam just waved his hand. Keep it for now. I know you're the main speaker today. I prepared a set just in case, and it just came in handy. Haley, I'm so happy that I could help you. It shows that I'm not a useless person after all. I sighed. Why are you doing this? Liam smiled at me, with a tenderness that I had never seen before. I know I was wrong. Now I just want to be with you and help you when you need me. Besides, it's just a piece of clothing, and it might come in handy sometimes. I also prepared a pair of shoes for you. If you don't feel comfortable in the ones you're wearing, you can try these. Actually, I arrived here early. When I saw that your clothes were dirty, I was so worried. I wanted to help you but was afraid that you would reject me. I hesitated for a long time before I couldn't help coming over to see if I could do something. I didn't say anything more. People from the company arrived one after another. I thanked him again. I'm really grateful to you today. Without you, I really wouldn't have known what to do. He didn't explain much but told me that it was getting late and that I should go back and prepare well. He said he believed that I could do it. I didn't look back, but I had mixed feelings in my heart. At my desk, I went over the materials that I had sorted out again. After the venue was set up, people started to enter one after another. I was a bit nervous for a moment. I had prepared the content for a long time and hoped that it could be recognized by the leaders. The host went on stage and started the announcements. I took a quick look at the materials and got ready to go on stage. The host called my name. I walked onto the stage, greeted the leaders and clients first. I opened the PPT and began to talk smoothly, and there was continuous applause from the audience. I could feel that the leaders in the audience were very satisfied with the plan I had made this time. After the speech, I got recognition from many clients and leaders. When I got off work and just walked out of the company, I ran into Liam. I was puzzled. Today, the big boss informed us that there will be a dinner party later. Why are you still here? After saying that, I smiled at him. I'm really grateful to you today. I'll wash the clothes tonight and return them to you tomorrow. Liam's face turned livid. Haley, it's just a set of clothes. Do we have to be so clear about it? I didn't say anything more because I didn't want to owe him anything. Seeing that I remained silent for a long time, Liam slowly said, Haley, do you know? Only now do I realize that you're such an outstanding person. Thinking about these years, you've done so much for me, but I didn't see any of your good points and even hurt you like that. Haley, I know that what I did was really excessive. I don't expect your forgiveness. I just hope that you won't avoid me and that we can get along normally. If I miss you, I'll never forgive myself for the rest of my life. We sat on the flower bed and started chatting. I looked up at the blue sky and thought about the harm that Liam had done to me. It seemed like everything had just happened yesterday. After thinking for a moment, I said, You've changed so much that I can hardly recognize you. Do you know? In my eyes, you were like a beam of light to me. I'll always remember that when I was being bullied, you stepped forward to save me. Since then, I've started to become confident and gradually made myself stronger. I don't know how your academic performance was. I only know that I wanted to be as strong as you, dare to say no, dare to get angry, learn to protect myself, not cause you any trouble, and not let you look down on me. Over the years, I've never told you that I fell in love with you from the moment you saved me. Hearing my words, Liam's eyes lit up, and there seemed to be something shining in his eyes. But in the next second, that brief light disappeared. Because I continued, but now, you've changed and you're no longer the person you used to be. I can't see that beam of light in you anymore. Even your confident and proud appearance is gone completely. You've lost yourself in this relationship. But ask yourself, do you really like me? To save this relationship, you've become so humble and put yourself in a low position. Is this really what you want? Once, I was the same. For you, I changed my nature, thinking that this was love, but it wasn't. I don't want you to become the same as I used to be. Suddenly, it started to drizzle. Liam suddenly said, Haley, I finally understand what I did wrong. Don't worry. I'll let you see the real me. Loving you is my own business, and I won't give up on you. Chapter 20. Liam and I went back to our normal state. We would just greet each other when we met occasionally. He only sent me a message once privately, telling me that he had signed a contract and got a promotion and a raise. Haley, I'm becoming excellent now. The old me hasn't disappeared. I didn't reply. During the National Day holiday, I received a notice from my boss asking me to go to the head office for training with several colleagues. We could have some free time to play there, and the company would reimburse the expenses. 2 days before the holiday, I received a message from Liam. Haley, the holiday is coming soon. I've already booked plane tickets to Paris. Haven't you always wanted to go there? I told him straightforwardly that it wasn't necessary as I was going to the head office for training during the National Day holiday. Hearing that, he sent a crying emoji. This opportunity is really rare. I tried really hard to buy the tickets. I don't know when there will be another chance next time. I've been there already. He was surprised. What? When did you go? How come I didn't know? I found it funny. Did I have to report to him in advance wherever I went? Last National Day. There was a long silence on the other side. I knew that he remembered what had happened that year. Last National Day holiday, I had booked plane tickets to Paris in advance. It was a place I had always dreamed of. I had prepared for this trip for a long time, and it was with the person I loved. Every day, I made various travel plans online and prepared all kinds of travel tools. 2 days before departure, Liam received a call from Selena. Selena's voice was hoarse and she was crying. She told him that she had been in a car accident 3 hours ago and was now in the hospital with no one around her. She hoped that he could go and accompany her. Liam didn't hesitate at all and just agreed directly. I was standing right beside him at that time, and I was really surprised. Our trip will last for a week. How can you have time to go to the hospital to take care of her? Liam was impatient and his voice was indifferent. Selena had a car accident and is now in the hospital. We don't know how serious her injuries are yet. Her family isn't around. We're friends, and we should help when we need to. Besides, we can go to Paris at any time. It doesn't matter if we miss this time. With a crying voice and a hoarse throat, I said, next time? Since we got together, you've always said that you would take me there when you made money. But now, we've been together for 6 years. Have your promises to me been eaten by dogs? My words hurt his feelings, and he became angry out of shame. Enough. We're all adults. Why are you still arguing with a sick person? What do you think is the most important thing? My emotions reached their peak and I couldn't bear it anymore. Don't forget that you're my boyfriend. What's your relationship with her? Her family isn't around, but doesn't she have friends? What's the point of asking someone else's boyfriend to take care of her? I don't want to waste words with you. Now I have to go to the hospital to check on her. He picked up his coat and turned around to leave. Chapter 21. So, after I left, you went to Paris alone. Idintia. Yes, I stayed there for a week. When I got home, you hadn't come back yet. I couldn't remember clearly what kind of mood I was in when I was alone at the airport at that time. However, when the plane took off, looking at the blue sky and the charming scenery, it was enough to heal the unhappiness in my heart. The time when I was traveling was the happiest time for me. I went to the Eiffel Tower and had the famous Kopi Luwak coffee in the coffee shop under the tower. I saw the petals falling down along the tower, and my heart was completely at peace. Only then did I feel that it could be nice to be alone. During the trip, I met a group of nice friends. It was then that I deeply realized that besides love, there are many things in life that are worth cherishing, but I had lost too much. On my way back, I had been thinking carefully about whether this relationship should continue. However, thinking about the bits and pieces of our past, I was a bit reluctant to part with it, so I planned to observe for a while before making a decision and chose to endure it for the time being. When I got home and you hadn't come back yet, I wasn't angry. But that night, before going to bed, when I was browsing Moments, I unexpectedly saw Selena's Moments. Only then did I know that after Selena was discharged from the hospital, you had been taking care of her at her home. Before, I hadn't found a suitable opportunity, but at that time, I made up my mind completely. Cutting losses in time was the best choice. Later, I don't know if it was because Selena had a quarrel with you that you remembered my existence. When you got home, the first thing you said when you saw me was, "You haven't contacted me for such a long time. Do you no longer consider me as your boyfriend in your heart?" Without saying a word, I replied, "Since you two have such a good relationship, why didn't you just go and get the marriage certificate directly?" Liam's eyes were bloodshot. He raised his hand and slapped me. "I just got back, and you start making a scene. Let me tell you, don't be too fussy. Be careful that you'll drive me away, and then it'll be too late for you to regret it." Then, he picked up his coat and turned around to leave. I found it ridiculous. Did everyone think that I couldn't live without him? At that time, I still loved him. However, from the beginning to the end, he didn't know that I had gone on a trip. And I didn't tell him either. I remember that when I came back from Paris, I brought back a lot of ornaments. I put one at the entrance. The biggest one, the model of the Eiffel Tower, I put on the TV cabinet. If he had been a bit more careful, he surely could have noticed it, but he had never paid attention to it. Every time I think about what happened in these years, I wish I could strangle myself. Only now do I realize that I don't deserve your forgiveness at all. The voice in the voice message he sent to me was sad. I ignored it and told him to cancel the plane tickets. No matter how beautiful the scenery was, it didn't belong to him. Chapter 22. Going to the head office for training improved me a lot, and I also had a great time. In the evening, I sang songs, had barbecues with my colleagues, and got a bit tipsy. I hadn't been so happy for a long time. I was no longer absent-minded, no longer worried, and no longer distracted. Instead, I devoted myself wholeheartedly to the scenery. I wrote down the scenes and food that I liked into words and recorded them in moments. Liam liked every post of mine. That night, we played Truth or Dare together. One of the boys made a wonderful confession, which startled me. My colleagues applauded beside me and urged me to accept it. I told him that I wasn't considering relationship issues for the time being. However, someone took a short video of this scene and posted it on Moments. That night, I received a call from Liam. He seemed to be drunk. His voice was hoarse and he sounded drunk. "Haley, I promised you that I wouldn't interfere with you, and I will definitely keep my word. I just hope that when you look for a boyfriend, you should keep your eyes open and don't blindly agree. I don't regret the efforts I've made these days. I've thought that from now on, the person standing beside you won't be me anymore. But I dare not think about whether I can stand in front of you calmly and wish you happiness when there's really someone of the opposite sex approaching you. I know that I'm being selfish, but Haley, what should I do in the days without you? Seeing that man confessing his love to you, my heart aches. Why can he be so close to you? Why can he accompany you to cry and laugh together? Haley, I really know that I'm wrong. Could you please not leave me alone? I was so tired. I was tired of hearing these words all the time. I just found it ridiculous. Is it true that everyone only realizes the importance of someone to them after losing them completely? But in this world, there's never a pill for regret. When I needed you, you weren't there. So when I don't need you anymore, why should I give you a chance? After calming down for a moment, I told him, "You've drunk too much. Go to bed early." Chapter 23. The next day after the training ended, we organized to go climbing in the afternoon. As soon as we walked out of the head office, we saw Liam. Liam chuckled. "Recently, I signed a big contract. The company rewarded me with a few days off. I thought it was nice here where you were, so I booked a plane ticket on short notice and flew over. Coincidentally, there were still vacant rooms in the nearby hotel, so I booked one too." I was too lazy to pay attention to him and walked straight towards the hotel. He seemed not to notice that I was in a bad mood and kept talking beside me. "Haley, I came in a hurry and didn't make any travel plans. Well, I'll shamelessly play with you guys. Wherever you say we should go, we'll go. As for my oversight, I plan to cover all the expenses for the following activities. How about that?" I sighed. "Just decide for yourself." In the following time, Liam went climbing with us. Wherever I went, he followed. He would also buy water and snacks for all of us. When we went to have meals, he would pay the bill in advance. When I saw something I liked at a small stall and just looked at it a few more times, he would buy it for me. His behavior immediately caught the attention of my colleagues. They advised me that I might as well give him a chance. After all, we were all from the same company. Besides, it was really not easy for a man to do this much. I shook my head and didn't say anything. It wasn't that I didn't want to give him a chance. I just thought that all these efforts were in vain. Chapter 24. On this day, we were visiting a lantern fair. My colleagues and I were choosing a very beautiful bracelet and considering which one was better. Suddenly, a noisy sound came from behind. Before I could react, I saw a tricycle rushing directly towards us. The driver shouted for us to get out of the way, saying that the brakes had failed. In an instant, the tourists around us were running and hiding everywhere. I was caught in the middle and didn't know what to do. At this time, a voice came from behind. Danger. Liam rushed over directly and pushed me and my colleague into the green belt. But he himself fell to the ground, and a crowd of people gathered around him. I was panicked and hurriedly ran over to check his injuries. Fortunately, the injuries were not very serious. There was just a big bump on his head. His arm seemed to be dislocated and he couldn't use his strength. After a lot of commotion, the street became a mess. I gently helped him up. "Are you okay?" Liam grasped my hand, his eyes flickering. "It's okay. It doesn't hurt." But I saw that the big bump on his forehead was bleeding continuously. "Let's go to the hospital." My colleagues and I hurriedly sent Liam to the hospital. When we arrived at the hospital, after a series of examinations, the doctor said that he needed to rest quietly. It wasn't very serious, but he needed to recuperate for a while. After this incident happened, we didn't have the mood to continue playing anymore, and we returned that night. Chapter 25. Liam's arm was injured, so he couldn't go out to do business and could only work as a customer service staff at home. Since his injury was caused by me, I couldn't just ignore it. First, I thought about ordering takeout for him. But then I thought it wasn't appropriate. However, every afternoon when I went to visit him, he had already cooked and was waiting for me. Looking at him, I sighed. "Your hands and feet are inconvenient. Don't cook next time. Wait for me to come back and cook." Liam smiled at me. "It's okay. Although you work in the office, you're also busy all day. It would be too tiring for you to cook when you come home. I can still use one of my hands. It's not a big deal." After eating, I took the initiative to clean up. After I finished doing the chores and was about to leave, I heard him shout, "Wait a minute. I have something for you." I was very curious and just waited quietly there. Soon, he took out a lunchbox from the refrigerator and handed it to me. He told me that it was a box of crayfish. Usually, I loved eating this the most. He forgot to bring it out when we were having dinner today. It was a dish that he had just learned to cook during this period, and he asked me to taste it and see if it was delicious. My hands trembled for a long time as I held the crayfish. I was very surprised. But still, I said thank you and left. When I got home, I put the crayfish on the table and stared at it for a long time. The bright red crayfish, with a layer of white garlic on top and a tantalizing aroma. In the past, I would definitely be eager to eat it right away. I have to say that habits are really scary. I couldn't remember how long it had been since I last touched crayfish. Clearly, this was my favorite seafood. Since I got together with Liam, I learned that he was allergic to seafood. But I especially liked eating lobster, especially the garlic-flavored one. Just thinking about it made my mouth water. When I was a child, as long as I did something good or got excellent grades, my mom would always try her best to meet my requests, and crayfish was one of them. He was allergic to seafood, but he wouldn't let me eat it at home. Because of this, we quarreled many times. I was very angry and argued with him a lot. Allergic reactions to seafood only happen when you eat it. You're not eating it. It's not like you'll be allergic just by smelling it. Why do I have to eat it outside? Instead of changing his attitude, he became even more unreasonable and told me that since he was allergic to seafood, I still insisted on eating seafood in front of him. He asked me what my intentions were and whether something had to happen before I could feel at ease. After several quarrels, I was too lazy to argue and explain. Quarreling over trifles made me feel physically and mentally exhausted. After each quarrel, I was the only one who digested the negative emotions by myself. Chapter 26. I couldn't remember when I last ate seafood. When I got off work in the evening, I would occasionally buy a portion and eat it when he wasn't at home. Later, I ate it less and less often. I actually forgot that I had this hobby. It turned out that Liam still remembered this. It could be seen that he really knew he was wrong and cared a lot about me. He wanted to make up for all the things he owed me before. During this period, I didn't fail to notice all the things he had done for me. Especially what happened at the head office. At the critical moment of life and death, he could put himself aside and tried his best to protect me. For my sake, he didn't consider his own safety at all. In order to make me happy, he even endured the pain to cook crayfish for me. He said that I was taking care of him, but he didn't want me to feel too much pressure and took the initiative to cook. He was really serious and hardworking towards me, and he was slowly changing the things he did wrong before. My friends around me hoped that I would give him a chance and not wait until I missed him and then regretted it. I knew that they all meant well. I'm not made of iron. I could feel all the things he did. But I'm really scared. I managed to jump out of the fire pit with great difficulty, and I would never go back. Now he has become much better, but what about in the long run? Would he become the same as before again? The future is so long and full of uncertainties. I dare not think about what would happen if I were mistreated again. I'm not sure if I would still have the courage to stand up again at that time. It wasn't easy to have a new start, and I didn't want to repeat the same mistakes. In this relationship, there were more quarrels and endless disputes than laughter and joy. I didn't have the courage to step into the quagmire again. Besides, I'm very sober now. I'm tired and don't love him anymore. Chapter 27. In the end, I took that box of crayfish to the community and fed it to the stray cats. Otherwise, it would be a pity to throw it away. I hadn't eaten it for a long time, and now I didn't like the taste anymore. I just smelled it and felt uncomfortable. In the evening, I started to write my resignation letter. I planned to resign. I wanted to be straightforward and not give him any hope. I started to consider whether to accept the confession of that male colleague. But then I thought about it and felt it wasn't appropriate. I wanted to make Liam completely give up hope, but I didn't expect that everything would come so quickly. The next day, I unexpectedly ran into Selena at the entrance of the company. When Selena saw me, she slapped me right away. I was wondering, why did brother Liam suddenly resign? So it was all because of you. I just don't understand. Didn't you break up? Why are you still so entangled? I pushed her away and said in a cold voice, if you think we're still entangled, you should go to him. Why are you looking for me? Selena was stunned for a moment but still didn't want to give up. More and more onlookers gathered around. Selena became more and more excited as she talked, as if she was afraid that others wouldn't know what had happened. Haley, don't think that I don't know what you're thinking. You've already broken up, but you're still seducing him. You really make me sick. I might as well tell you. Even if you get him, so what? He still only has me in his heart. Selena, seeing that I was impatient, dropped a bombshell instead. Brother Liam has blocked me. Now, under your instigation, he hates me. Since that's the case, there are some things that I'm sure you'll never know if I don't tell you. On your birthday, I deliberately called brother Liam away. Actually, I just accidentally sprained my ankle while walking, but I told him that I was hit by a car, and he actually believed it. Think about it carefully. Which of us is more important in his heart? I wasn't moved at all. Instead, I pinched the space between my eyebrows and said in a cold voice, really? Since you two love each other so much, then you'd better take him away and don't let him pester me anymore. Chapter 28. It was almost time to go to work, but Selena was still pestering me. She was making a scene at the entrance. Many colleagues who had clocked in came down again to watch the fun. If Liam didn't show up, she wouldn't let me go. I told her that Liam had injured his arm and was recovering at home, and asked her to go to his home to find him. But Selena grabbed my collar without asking for reasons. If he's at home, I'll go to him. But he didn't open the door for a long time. He must be here. Several of Liam's colleagues were around. They directly called him in front of Selena and told him that if he didn't come, he shouldn't come back in the future. He's recovering from his injury at home. Who is this person? Coming to the company to make a scene. What would it look like if the leader saw it? I pushed her away. Wait here. He'll come to pick you up soon. I have work to do. You can't leave. How do I know if you're lying to me? While she was pulling me, a taxi stopped. Selena turned around, saw the person getting out of the car, and immediately rushed over. Brother Liam, did I do something wrong? Why are you ignoring me? Liam walked towards us with a livid face. Before he could say anything, his colleague said, Liam, look at what a mess this has become. No matter how big the matter is, don't come to the company to make a scene. I got it, manager. Liam glanced at me, his eyes flickering, but he didn't say anything for a long time. I was too lazy to pay attention to him and turned around to leave. He grabbed Selena and got into the taxi, and then the taxi drove away quickly. I don't know if he would forgive Selena for what she had done. But I know that Selena knows too well where Liam's weakness is. Even if she really made him angry, she would surely have a way to coax him and make him feel better. I don't know whether Liam will come back to work or not. As for me, it doesn't matter anymore. Chapter 29. If Liam can really accept Selena's unreasonable behavior, it can only show that the person he has actually loved all along is Selena. After all, only the person one favors has the right to be unrestrained. Besides, Liam has struggled in the workplace for many years. How could he not know what Selena has always wanted? Since that day, Liam hasn't explained to me what happened that day. I think Selena should have got the result she wanted. After all, they are childhood sweethearts. It's quite normal that he still has feelings for her. Moreover, Selena is really good at acting. When he gets angry, she acts coquettishly and cutely. Liam lets Selena manipulate him. Otherwise, how could I have lost so miserably? I analyze these things calmly from the perspective of a bystander. Even if they really end up together in the end, it has nothing to do with me. I'm just glad for myself. If I had been moved back then, I would be the one trapped in the quagmire now. I'm glad that I was firm and didn't look back. Otherwise, I would have to sacrifice everything for him again and lose half of my life. Chapter 30. Since then, I've never seen Liam again. Out of curiosity, I asked Liam's colleagues. Only then did I learn that he had resigned from the company half a month ago. I breathed a sigh of relief. It's better this way, and I can stay. 3 months later, I had just put on a facial mask after taking a shower when I received a call from Liam. His voice was hoarse as he said sorry to me. He told me that after he left with Selena that day, Selena cried her heart out in the car, saying that she couldn't live without me at all. I firmly refused her on the spot and promised that I would never pester you again. But that night, she sent me a message saying that she had been scolded by her best friend. She said that her friend called her a bootlicker and she felt so sad that she asked me to accompany her to drink. I thought it was just having a couple of drinks and didn't think too much about it. I dare not think about what happened after she put something in my drink when I went to the toilet. I don't even want to think about what happened later. I know that there will be no future for us anymore. You are so pure that you would surely think I'm dirty. I deeply realize that I've completely lost you this time. I resigned from the company and planned to leave, but then I received a call from Selena. She told me that she was pregnant. I know that I'm not a good person, but I can't be a complete scumbag. She wanted to marry me. And I agreed. Perhaps, this is my fate. My heart is cold, but I don't feel sad. I told him that since he had already made the decision, we should each live our own lives well and not disturb each other. He told me that we would never see each other again and hoped that I could be happy in the days to come.